Amy Pittman here with Pittman Law Office, and today we're talking about what if. What if you're traveling on this amazing trip and you become incapacitated? How are your loved ones, the family members that you've named as your power of attorney agent or your healthcare surrogate, going to know that they're named and how to step in? So it's really essential that you tell the people that you've named as your power of attorney agent, which is the person who's going to be managing your finances or paying your bills, that they know how to get into your house, that they know where your passwords are located, because without those passwords, without knowing how you pay your expenses, what expenses you have, then it's going to be really overwhelming for them to try to figure it out. And that may mean something's going to get missed. The same thing goes for healthcare. If you're on a trip and you're traveling, and you are not traveling with a loved one that's been named, how is that person going to know where that document's at or who your attorney is? So really important to make sure that before you go on this amazing trip that you have planned, that you sit down, you go through all of your assets, make a list, where those assets are located, how are they owned, make a list of your monthly expenses. How do you get the bill? How do you pay the bill? And then also make sure that the person that you named as your power of attorney or successor trustee knows how to get into your house, where that information is. I am not saying you need to share that information with them. I don't want you necessarily giving it to all them at that time, but they need to know at least where to go. And if you're our client, they need to know how to get in touch with us, because we can make sure that they get a copy of the power of attorney in order to act. So if you're incapacitated and there's healthcare decisions to be made, obviously they're going to need to know how to get in touch with us, and we can share that healthcare surrogate with them. And we do want to make sure that you're kind of giving them heads up before you go on a trip, and maybe reiterate the end of life, what that looks like for you, quality of life. I know that kind of puts a damper on the excitement of the trip, but it does make sure that everybody's kind of aware of what's going on. So what if, right? What if you become incapacitated while you're on a trip? You want to make sure that your family and loved ones know where to start. What if you die? Same thing. If you die on a trip, how are they going to know where your documents are in the house or where your estate planning information is? And then also, if you die while you're traveling abroad, how are they going to get your body back? So if you prepaid for your cremation or burial, you want to make sure that they know who to call. They definitely need to make sure that they know how to get a hold of your attorney. So that, again, I know when we travel, we're thinking about, this is going to be an amazing adventure. You do need to think ahead of time, what if something happens? And we always say that estate planning is always considering the uncertainty, planning for the what ifs. And we really want to make sure that you have an amazing time on that trip, but be prepared in the event something does happen, whether you're traveling to see a loved one or you're going on some amazing trip in another country, that you are prepared, and the people that you've named is going to be able to step in and be able to have access to that information, your documents, and the important people that are, your attorneys or your financial planners. Hope that helps. And again, that's estate planning the pink way.